The once quiet neighborhood in Flagstaff now echoed with a different kind of silence, one heavy with tension. The house that once belonged to Kody and Robyn Brown no longer bustled with laughter, children's footsteps, or the organized chaos of television production. The windows stayed shut, the lights dimmed, and the mailbox brimmed with envelopes marked in red. Kody stood barefoot at the doorway, his appearance more disheveled than usual. His hands trembled slightly as he held the letters. Though the words were in English, the meaning behind them felt foreign, an urgent financial reality he had long pretended didn't exist. He had spent years juggling deadlines and credit extensions, always assuming there would be another paycheck, another season. Robyn watched from the staircase, her presence quiet but intense. Her hair, usually so carefully arranged, had been neglected, and the smudges under her eyes betrayed countless sleepless nights. She had seen this unraveling long before it hit Kody. Every time she logged into their accounts, every trip to the store, every unpaid bill, she knew. 3 days earlier, a call came from the bank. It wasn't a warning. It was a decision. "Mrs. Brown," the voice had said flatly, "the foreclosure process has begun." Now there were 27 days left. She clutched a blanket around her shoulders like armor. The first notice on the garage door had brought tears. Selling her antique dining table, her favorite piece, had broken her. But now there were no more tears, only silence and a rising emptiness that echoed through the halls. Kody set the mail down on the counter with a heavy thud. He leaned back, wiping his face with the heel of his hand. "This isn't how it was supposed to go," he muttered. Robyn didn't answer. "It was never meant to be like this," he said again, louder. "I trusted you," she finally whispered. That hit harder than the foreclosure notice. "You think I wanted this?" Kody shot back. "No," she said, meeting his eyes. "I think you ignored every warning. I think you believed the checks would never stop, that your name was enough to keep everything afloat." His jaw tightened. "We're not done. We'll recover." "With what?" Her voice cracked. "We've sold the cars. The land's gone. Next is the house. We don't even have credit anymore. What do we have, Kody?" Outside, a neighbor mowed their lawn. A dog barked in the distance. The world moved on, indifferent to the unraveling of their lives. The moving truck arrived the next day, not to help, but to collect what the banks now owned. Kody watched as strangers packed up his life piece by piece. The leather recliner he'd once defended during an argument with his wives, gone. Even the old ATV was taken. 3 days later, they were living in an old RV, one they had bought years ago during a short-lived dream of living off the grid. Now it was their only shelter. Robyn barely spoke on the drive. Her phone buzzed constantly. Overdraft alerts, payment failures, closed accounts. She didn't answer any of them. Not even TLC called anymore. Kody still clung to the illusion of control as he gripped the steering wheel, but it was slipping. Every passing mile, every signpost they left behind, marked the end of the empire he had once ruled. Back in Utah, Christine Brown sat on her porch with a glass of lemonade. Her youngest played in the yard as the warm sun painted everything gold. Her phone buzzed with the headline, "Kody and Robyn Brown file for bankruptcy. Multiple properties seized." She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just gave a solemn nod. "I warned him," she whispered. Janelle in her kitchen saw the same news as she chopped vegetables. She didn't react. She had already lived through the fall. "There's not enough salt in the world to fix that stew," she muttered, stirring the pot. Mary, in her cozy Parowan bed and breakfast, closed her laptop quietly. For once, her world was peaceful. Kody parked the RV beneath a fading Joshua tree. The night came quickly. The stars were cold and silent. Inside, Robyn lit a single candle. Its flickering light felt more like a habit than hope. She opened her Bible and read quietly, words now a comfort more than a guide. Outside, Kody stared at the horizon, arms folded. "We had it all," he whispered. "A show, a family, the American dream." Robyn didn't respond. He turned, paused at the door of the RV, and asked, "Do you think this is a punishment?" Her tired eyes met his. The Arizona sun baked the cracked sidewalks of the quiet cul-de-sac where the Brown family's grand experiment had once flourished. Now the once pristine lawns were overgrown, and blinds remained drawn like eyelids that refused to open. At the end of the street, Kody and Robyn's home stood silent, foreboding even. What was once a symbol of victory had become a monument of miscalculation. Inside, time moved slowly. Robyn sat wrapped in a blanket on the couch, eyes fixed on a blank TV screen. The living room was nearly bare. Family portraits gone, electronics sold, furniture thinned out one Craigslist post at a time. The only sound came from the wind brushing dry leaves against the windows and the occasional thud of the mailbox slap. Kody stood in the kitchen, barefoot, hair wild and eyes heavy. In his hand, a stack of envelopes, each one stamped with warnings, each one representing another corner of their former life slipping away. The words were clinical: past due, final notice, repossession imminent. But the consequences were deeply personal. The downfall hadn't come all at once. It had been a slow, steady unraveling. When the family show's production paused unexpectedly, Kody insisted it was temporary. "TLC just needs a break," he had said. "We'll bounce back." But the bounce never came. Instead, bills kept arriving, and the bank account kept draining. They'd taken out loans to stay afloat, against the house, the land, even a future they hadn't earned yet. "We're not bankrupt," Kody had claimed for months. "We're repositioning." Robyn knew better. She had seen the zeros disappear, one withdrawal at a time. Tuition, groceries, property taxes, insurance. What was once a life of surplus now teetered on the edge of survival. 3 days ago, the call finally came. "Mrs. Brown, I'm sorry. The foreclosure has begun." There was no more later. There was only now. They had 30 days. Now 27 remained. Kody dropped the mail onto the counter. The clatter echoed through the nearly empty house. "This isn't how it was supposed to go," he muttered, rubbing his face. Robyn said nothing. Her silence was no longer passive. It was a response. "It was never supposed to be like this," Kody said again, louder this time. "We had a plan." "I trusted you," she said softly, her voice barely rising above a whisper. He turned sharply. "You think I wanted this? You think I planned for all of this to crumble?" "No," she said calmly, meeting his eyes. "I think you ignored the signs. You believed the money would always flow. You thought being a Brown was enough. You thought the show would save us forever." Kody clenched his jaw. "We're not finished. We'll come back from this." "With what?" She snapped suddenly. "The cars are gone. The land's gone. The house is next. We don't even have a working credit card left. What do we use to rebuild faith?" Outside, a dog barked 2 houses down. A neighbor mowed their lawn, oblivious to the collapse next door. It was a quiet kind of disaster, one that didn't make noise but swallowed everything. The moving trucks arrived the next day, not for help, not for mercy. They came to collect. Furniture tagged by debt collectors was lifted piece by piece and carried away. Chairs that had hosted family dinners. A couch that had once held all 5 kids during movie nights. Even Robyn's prized antique cabinet she had inherited from her mother. Kody stood on the front lawn, arms crossed as strangers dismantled what was left of their world. He tried to intervene. He even argued over his old leather recliner, but it was no use. 3 days later, they were living in the RV. It was an old rig, purchased years ago during a brief obsession Kody had with off-grid living. It had been parked and ignored for nearly a decade. Now it was their only home. They left Flagstaff in silence. Kody stared out the window, barely blinking. The phone buzzed nonstop, overdraft alerts, closed accounts, bounced insurance payments. Robyn ignored them all. She had stopped answering friends' texts. She didn't have the words. What do you say when everything you were proud of has evaporated? Each mile took them further from the ashes of their empire. Back in Utah, Christine sat on her porch sipping lemonade, watching her youngest child dig in the garden. The sun here didn't feel so harsh. Her phone buzzed. Breaking. Kody and Robyn Brown file for bankruptcy as all assets seized. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just took a deep breath and nodded to herself. I told him, she whispered. Across town, Janelle was chopping vegetables for dinner. Her screen lit up with the same headline. She glanced at it, unimpressed. I've lived the beginning of that story, she said, sprinkling salt into a pot. There's no seasoning that makes it easier to swallow. And in Parowan, Mary sat behind the front desk of her restored bed and breakfast. The place smelled like cinnamon and peas. She stared at her laptop, then closed the lid. For once, she didn't need to engage. The storm had passed her. She finally had quiet. Meanwhile, the RV came to a halt in the middle of a desolate desert stretch, beneath the shadow of a brittle Joshua tree. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting purples and oranges across the sky. Kody stepped outside. The air was dry, almost sharp, like regret made tangible. He folded his arms and stared up at the sky. There were no city lights now, only stars, distant, uncaring, cold. Inside, Robyn lit a single candle against the RV wall. The soft glow flickered across the aluminum interior. It wasn't cozy. It wasn't romantic. It was survival, barely. She opened her Bible, but didn't read. Her eyes were fixed on the page, her mind elsewhere. Kody's voice came from outside. We had it all. 17 kids. 4 marriages. A TV legacy. The American dream. Robyn didn't respond. He turned and faced the RV door. Do you think this is punishment? That God's done with us? Robyn looked up. Her eyes were exhausted, but sharp. I think we were given everything, and thought we deserved more. Kody sat on the RV step, his elbows on his knees, looking like a man who'd finally run out of stories to tell. His empire wasn't taken in a blaze. It was slowly, silently swallowed, by ego, by denial, by time. Back in Utah, Christine and David Woolley were preparing to welcome new guests to their latest errand rental. Business had never been better. They had just finished repainting the kitchen, adding a mural of red cliffs to the hallway. Christine posted a video of the property, smiling as she showed off themed bedrooms, a porch swing, and a scrapbook corner dedicated to visitors' memories. We call it the Storm House, she said, because everyone needs shelter from something. As she walked through the hall, one framed photo caught the light, an old picture from the Sister Wives set. Robyn and Kody were in it, smiling wide, a remnant of another era. But Christine didn't pause. She kept walking.